End of April. The end of April Transit Riders Council meeting. I believe we have a quorum, so could we get an approval of today's agenda?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Great. Anybody opposed? How about the minutes? Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes?
Andrew, I'd like to make a motion with the correction I already put in Jessica to be approved.
Can you state the correction you made?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Thank you. Deborah's name is Debra, not with the H. And it was corrected. I brought it into the office. No, nothing to worry. I just want to say it for the record, just to make sure.
Okay,
Just to
maybe
let
get an approval of the minutes. All right, terrific. I will start before our speaker comes in the beginning of my chair's report. So there's some really good news and a little of not so good news, but the really good news is on-time performance on weekdays is 83.7%, and on weekends it's 86.6%. And as anybody who's ridden on the weekends lately, ridership has exploded on weekends, even with all the GOs going on. You're lucky if you get a seat now. That's how crowded it is on weekends. People are really using it for discretionary travel, and that's just wonderful news. Hopefully that will continue. The service is better than it's been in a long time. I see headways that I don't ever remember seeing on weekends, which is fabulous. So they're putting the trains out there, which is wonderful. And hello, Lisa.
Welcome back.
Yes. Great to see you in person. And Transit has issued this series of goals. What's the term I used? Subway goals. It's their goals. They want to deliver excellent service. They want to analyze what is causing delays, where and how, and why. They want to reduce the impact of those delays, which can be done by switching trains from a local to express or vice versa so that people are not delayed terribly. They want to strengthen the infrastructure, which is what all of this capital money is helping to do, thanks to a fully funded 25 to 29 capital program and congestion pricing. We are replacing rolling stock, signals, just everything you can imagine, joints, concrete, elevated structures, just the list goes on, elevators. And they want to start some new pilot programs. We did not get the details on those new pilot programs yet, but as soon as they are divulged to us, we will of course let you know what they are.
What is a pilot program?
It's something that they're going to try out to see how if it becomes popular or not.
That the board doesn't have to vote on.
Yeah, it's not like that. They can just decide, we're going to run this train through this way.
Okay.
For so
Can
many
you give
hours.
an example? I'm sorry, can you give an example of a pilot program, what they're talking about?
We don't have one yet.
Oh,
We're waiting to hear what they might be.
Did they hear anything? Whether one particular line, our type was bringing the figure down?
They did not, but riding the system as frequently as I do and seeing where breaks in emergency occur and cars having issues, it is not only the oldest cars. There are some moderately aged cars, and even some of the R211s have had issues. So, it's equal opportunity offender, if you want to use that term.
Any one line or lines that was bringing the average down?
They did not give
Because
that.
average is a lot.
Yeah, no, they did not give that.
I think we would want to see that
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
by a lot.
But that would have a lot to do with the car types that line utilizes, obviously, unless some people are doing something to delay trains.
Which we have no.
Right.
could you get back to the pilot programs again? Who is going to be making that decision?
New York City Transit, Demetrius and.
I mean, is there a group that they decided or just,
Haven't heard that, just that they're coming, they're gonna,
will we have any input if we have any ideas that what they should be?
don't know, but as a board member, if it happens at a meeting or, a committee meeting, I'll certainly give my input.
Could we give you our input?
Yes, but it would really depend on what the pilot program is. And I haven't learned what any of them are yet. So giving it now is premature.
No, what I meant is if we have any ideas about what they should be.
You can send it to the board office and to Lisa or Brian or Kara, and I'll make sure I bring it to the meeting with me.
Thank you.
Sure. They're
I'll
also,
get off now again. I'm sorry.
they have something called the SHARP program, Specialized High Achievement Resource Program. I don't know where they got the name from, but that they are pushing many, many more platform barriers for stations. They are now they're going to push them to 85 more stations.
Wow.
There are already 140 stations.
Mhm.
And if you've ridden and you've seen the stations, you know it isn't necessarily the entire platform that has the barriers. I've noticed that it's a portion of it.
It's episodic.
Yes, and the way they can do this is much more easily done if the car types that serve those stations are where they have similar door layouts, otherwise it won't work.
Andrew?
Yes,
Since we're mentioning that also, they've been doing some adjustments because Kalia and I were during the summer, we were doing the Navalance. There was a problem with one of them at 23rd because we're
will you
the,
tell me which 23rd since there's five?
I was just gonna say Park Avenue because it's the only one that's an accessible
How
station.
about Park Avenue South?
Thank you.
Okay,
Anyway, I'm just, because I know we have a speak, I'm just speeding up. Where the conductor is and where the door is, there was no access for Kalia to get
Yeah.
in. And they did fix it because Q and I the other week did go there because I was at a conference with him.
So
And-
basically, he's saying
Go ahead.
it blocked the conductor spot where a wheelchair would enter.
and that line uses R142s basically. So
Yes, but they fixed it
They fixed it,
Yeah.
okay.
because Q did the subject his own self.
So it's possible that it could be happening in other places. We just haven't.
How recently was this?
July.
July.
Oh, okay.
So it's possible that it's in other places. We just haven't
You've
been
been back to
there.
that station and you haven't seen that occur again, correct?
Not at that station, not particularly. at
I
that
have with
station.
Q the other week.
That station?
Yes,
You saw the same situation?
it was fixed because the barrier, because when Q and I looked on the floor, it looked like there was still a scratch mark where the original pole was and it was moved. So there is room because Q tested it himself, even on the yellow edge.
So for me, Andrew, even though those barriers are there for the general public, as a wheelchair user, then it's pretty narrow on the platform in many stations anyway.
Yes.
And that is definitely an obstruction and a problem at many stations. It doesn't matter which specific station.
Was there a column in the way, in the station?
They had, when we had, what was that, 59th Street with Jano, and there was a problem with the column. I
Yes,
couldn't get it off. Yes.
So the column, but the space between the column in the station and the barrier
The barrier.
was not wide enough to allow a
No.
wheelchair.
So if you're getting off the train, you can't get off in that spot. You
Right.
have to
Right,
alert the conductor to get off on the next door or maybe in the next car.
yep.
it was,
Yep.
actually it was Bleecker. It was
Bleecker.
Bleecker, because 59th is not an
Okay.
acceptable station. Sorry, Andrew.
Very interesting. We're gonna,
I have a question about the barriers.
sure.
Is there any attempt to do any research as to, are they actually providing safety?
I think that since they started installing the barriers, there have been fewer people falling on the tracks or getting pushed on the tracks.
Is there math on that?
There is math on that, and I don't have it in front of me, but they have provided that. So that is some good news.
And there's also a sense, it's a right safety and sense of safety.
Is sense of safety being measured? That would be,
I don't know if you can, I would think that we'll see that in the customer service
Yeah.
count, but I don't know if that's a question. I don't know if Kevin knows
You
if
mean
that's a question.
customers count?
sorry?
Customers count, right?
Yeah.
And if the sense of safety about if the barriers is part of the customer count survey, but
You measure a sense of safety. I don't know specifically for barriers, but I
Yeah.
think you'll be able to look at sense of safety per station and see how that breaks down at stations with barriers, without.
So now that our speakers are here, we're going to move. I'm going to suspend my chair's report for the moment and introduce Kevin Call and Dilton Shen Cruz. Dylan, right. Hard to read that. Product Manager, Data and APIs, and they are going to speak about the new and much, much improved MTA app. I do have some issues that I will bring up with you. I am sure you were aware of that, but please go on with your report.
Great. So hi, I'm Kevin Call, Deputy Chief Customer Officer, and I run the service information teams and the customer experience team under Shanique Pereira, and that includes the team that works with MTIT to develop the app. The relationship is the HQ customer team sets the standard, creates the strategy, and issues the requirements to MTAIT, who builds the product, and we work together. That's sort of the checks and balances here, right? It's not one team running this. It's a negotiation between two teams within the MTA. So we just launched a totally refreshed version of the MTA app that was rebuilt from the ground up. Can we go to the next slide? Thank you. Totally rebuilt from the ground up, and a lot of engineering work went into the speed of the app, which, if you're familiar with the last version of the app versus this version, we really did make some significant improvements there. I frequently would open up the old version of the app and it would spend a long time just loading data. I think that was a sort of key flaw in the original design of the MTA app that was correct. The strategy here has been, we want an app that focuses in on what we think we are best positioned to offer versus our competitors, right? So you have Google, you have Apple, you have these gigantic tech companies that employ more people than work at the MTA to work on products like this. We have a very small team. It's about 7 folks that focus on this. So, what can we do best with the resources we have and deliver something that, New Yorkers want and we're the best position to offer. And so we decided that was speed. That was to get nearby arrivals with 0 taps, and some other features which would include, live aging customer care, and eventually, with the integration of the Omni SDK, you'll be able to get trip and charge history all in the same place. And that's not something that you're ever going to get from a third-party app. But that's the sort of thinking here about why we went with this direction. Next slide. Some of you, or all of you, will be familiar with all of the products shown here on the screen. The first attempt at this was Subway Time, which was just the A division numbered lines. Did not include the B division because we didn't yet have the transit wireless and the beacon clocks and some of the other improvements been built that allow us to have real-time arrivals for the other division. Then in 2018, with the work on the countdown clocks, we were able to build the My MTA app, which sort of mirrored the current version of the website. If you were familiar with this app, it took 4 or 5 clicks to get down to the, say, bus route you were looking for. It was not an ideal experience. In 2024, we launched the first version of the MTA app. And it was I still think a significant improvement over My MTA, even if it wasn't entirely where we wanted to be as far as design goes. But a difference here is, Subway Time was built internally by the MTA, and then we went into this consultant model here with My MTA and the MTA app. That matters here because, we got to a place over 10 years where the MTA wasn't confident that we could build these products in-house ourselves, and so we started to contract out with firms. And the issue with contracting out with firms is it's often slow. They often oversell and overpromise their services, and to get simple changes made sometimes could be really difficult. We had to get on the phone. We had to issue change orders. You were dealing with folks that, were developing the app that were around the world that, did not know New York City.
Yes.
Some of the key developers for the 2024 MTA app were in Vietnam. They were not familiar with New York City whatsoever. And it showed, right? So if we go to the next slide. We've been doing this approach, this in-housing technology across a couple of products here. And, we think it's really showing results. So as we are in-housing these products and ending these contracts, we're often finding that we're able to squeeze out more money from these contracts to help produce even more staff and put even more resources at the problem. Think about this, right? If you contract with a firm, they're going to have, the folks that do the work, but then they're going to have the managers and the bosses that also are part of that contract and need to get paid, right? When we in-house, we're not paying for extra management or, the CEO. All of that goes back into the development of the product, so we're able to, do more with the same resources, which I think is pretty important here. I include the screens here because this was important foundational work for the MTA app that I think most folks didn't it was not clear that in order for us to build a new MTA app, we needed a powerful, fast, new backend that would calculate the arrivals. And the first place we enabled the backend for customers to see were these new countdown clocks. Remember, a few years ago, you would often, if you held up your My MTA app and you were looking at the countdown clock above you and the screen on the wall, they might have had different times here, and it was not clear which one you should be paying attention to. Having everything driven off the same backend has solved that problem. We think it is much more accurate than the previous systems. And on top of this, we've added a new sleek new design that is consistent. So it's also clear visually that what you're seeing on the wall and from the ceiling and on your phone are all from the same data source here. Just it's important to help drive trust in the information that we put out there. Yeah.
There are times, Kevin, when the wonderful vertical signs against the wall from out front
Yes.
don't actually match those ones hanging from a ceiling, and the ones on the wall are more accurate. Sometimes they will show you a time and then it'll take maybe 10, 15 seconds for the other one to show it.
So the hardware, the TV screen is owned by Outfront, but everything you see is powered by the MTA.
Right.
It's hooked up to us, right?
Hold it out front so you'll know what I mean, the one
Got
on
it.
the walls.
Got it.
Thank you.
The CIC is what we say in terms of the customer information screen, because we have advertising screens and information screens, but they're the same piece of hardware. Yeah, that's right. And I do wonder if that was an IRT station or a few B division stations, and some IRT stations have full color LCD displays that are not actually driven off helium. We still have, the thing is, you have a patchwork of different systems here, right? You have
Definitely.
the Flushing CBT system, which is separate. You have the Canarsie L-Train CBT system, which is separate. You have the B division beacon system, which is separate, and then you have the rest of the IRT A division system. They're all different here. It's our job to make it look as seamless as possible with the same design, but we've not unlocked that everywhere yet. If you say you're an L-Train rider, you'll notice that we don't have the new countdown clock designs yet. It's still showing the default Solari display directly off the iron. We're still working through some of these things. It's a process to go team by team and negotiate between IT and transit to make sure we can tap into the raw data here. So that's something that's happening over time, and I want to acknowledge.
And there are some newer hanging down ones, which are much more accurate than that particular breed.
Yes.
So yeah, obviously they're getting better.
They are getting better. One of these things where, this is why CPTC is so important here. These beacon clocks in the B division, they don't actually know where the train is. It's a guess. And so the way those things work, it's kind of a hack we did about 10 years ago. We put beacons on the individual trains and beacons on the platform. And as the train passes from station to station, it makes a calculation against the schedule, and that's how that number is generated. But say if your train stops in between stations, that thing doesn't know that. It just knows that it hasn't tripped the next stop yet. And so that's why CBTC is just so important because you will know down to the inch of where the train is, right? Sorry, I can go, I go so deep in that.
But just give me.
I appreciate that rabbit hole.
This is the right group for that rabbit hole. Yeah, I'm gonna turn it over to my colleague Dylan, who's gonna go through the features of the new app, but I want to set up just how we got here.
Does everybody have the new app?
Yes.
Okay, good.
That's great. So I think that throughout this, you can feel free to raise any questions you have about the specific screen that I'll be talking about. Just again, for some context, I'm a product manager on the customer experience team. My job is to make sure that the requirements for the app are represent the needs of New York City's residents and MTA riders. And I incidentally also work on the third-party apps that use the MTA's data. So like Google Maps, Apple Maps, Trend. So
City Mapper?
City Mapper as well. So if you have relevant questions about that, you can feel free to ask them. And so, yeah, what I'll be doing right now is just going through every tab and walking you through what we walked through in the board. So next slide. So the subway tab is the one that is the most used by MTA app users. It's designed to be a zero tab experience targeted at real-time arrivals. So the idea is you would be approaching a station or you're about to embark on your trip and you want to know what are the real-time arrival times for your desired train at the nearby station near you. It's built to be fast, lightweight, frictionless, and it's ideal for people who already know their route and just need timing info. The next slide is for buses. And what we did here was really sort of think a bit deeper about how actual bus riders in New York City use the bus system. What we do know from our market research and customer research is that people typically know where they're going. They don't really take like unfamiliar trips when it comes to buses. They usually use 1, 2, or 3 bus routes max in a given month. So they really know which routes they want, which stops they want to go to. And again, this is particularly a place where they just want to know where their desired bus is. So what we've done here is we've created a personalized map where you can sort of favorite your favorite bus routes. And when you open the bus tab, you can instantly see all the live bus locations for those up to 3 for those routes that you favorited.
Dylan, does the app automatically detect that the person has been using those particular bus lines all the time? Like if I take the 44 all the time, when I open the app, is it automatically going to pick up if I'm standing in that location? Then I'm at the 44 SBS and you pick up, because I frequently use that bus. Is it gonna tell us that automatically?
So it doesn't do that right now, but we do have engineers in our team who are really excited to roll out those sort of machine learning AI types of features that make it much more intuitive to use the app without, configuring it yourself manually. So that's something on top of mind for the app in the future.
So the Q44 bus, right? So it says 10 minutes for the next arrival. So I have found that sometimes I know that that's not the terminal spot, but what I found at times is that it doesn't take into account the turnaround time, which can be 30 minutes. And I've stood at a stop waiting for the break. Yeah. Which drivers are entitled to, and I would never begrudge them that, but that can make a difference in how people decide to travel.
Yeah.
So the bus may be 10 minutes away, but when you factor in the 30-minute break, then it's 40 minutes. So I think it would be helpful to show what the actual departure time would be, as opposed to
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree.
Can we go into this rabbit hole? Yeah.
Yeah, feel free. Yeah.
Go another rabbit hole?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're also looking at this problem too, because I live at the beginning of my route and the predictions coming out of the terminal are close to meaningless because the bus time is the core system that drives this. Bus time is 15 years old and it can't see the future. So bus time just knows the bus is supposed to leave the terminal this time. But if we're not running on a schedule, say it's the middle of the day and there is a disruption and they're just kind of running off the iron and trying to do their best to maintain even headways, the prediction that bus time is going to fall back to doesn't really mean anything. And so you have much better predictions in the middle of the route because, when the driver signs on, the bus connects to the cell network, and then a prediction gets going, and then it's much better. But that first couple stops, it's a guess, it's a bad guess. And so we want to make sure we're working on this right now to see if we can get bus time to start taking in data upstream and understand, that bus, does it have a driver? Has it left the depot? Is it in position to depart yet? That should affect those times upstream. But yes, it is a problem that we're working very hard to solve right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and just a little bit more color. It's a really complicated problem because it encompasses both sort of operational side concerns and technical concerns. Like things need to be linked up. People need to report in the field with what's going on. So it's really sort of like a wicked problem, if you will.
Since you just mentioned that word, complaint. I have a problem with if I know a bus, like Lisa said, it's supposed to come 10 and I have to wait 30 minutes. Normally I would touch the bus and it will show me on the screen, do I want to go to customer feedback? It does not let me do that now.
Yeah.
And I miss that because in accessibility is actually easier on that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we do need to fix that customer feedback link because on the computer, and I mentioned it to Chris already, mentioned it the other day. When I put on the computer, if I don't have a chance to log in and it says I can just type it on the computer, it's not matching to the phone. And I've seen this on different types of phones. I asked everyone else to check that. It's the same thing. Doesn't matter what phone you have, Apple or no Apple. So can we try to fix that a little kink?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. The idea of like picking a trip and sort of reporting issues with that data or like something about that trip is something that we talked about and would love to add in.
And it'll be easier because if say, like someone we know, one of our members has always an issue with the subway and the clock changes, and you want to put the complaint because the train tells us this, can we do that as well? Because that was mentioned in the past, that was going to be added.
Are you going to go back to the subway part of this? 'Cause I want to give you some comments, but if you want to just continue with the bus, please go on.
Andrew? Just ask.
Yeah, sure.
So I really used it for the train part, and I'll ask a question later when we get to that. But with the buses, under bus time, you could see how many people were on the bus or it was crowded. I don't see that here. Am I missing that or it's not part of the new?
So it is part of
It is?
I can see that.
Yeah, so it doesn't always show up, and
Okay.
so that's something that we're aware of.
Right.
But if you click on a specific trip, like a specific time on the arrival screen, and it pops up like the actual bus that you want to take, often it comes up.
I don't, okay, it didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna do one more.
Sure.
Because I'm bus rider. I took the Q32 over the 59th Street Bridge, which is always an adventure. It took me an hour to get over the bridge. And I had to go to Google Maps to see like what's going on. Because it doesn't show you traffic patterns on the roadway. And I think that would be helpful. So you could see people were like, I don't know what's the holdup. But they were having to toggle back and forth between apps to see if it made sense to get off. To get on the subway because we're still at Queens Plaza. So that the driver was able to let people off, but you couldn't see the roadway conditions. So if that's a layer
Yes.
to add that, I think that would be helpful.
The bus time right now does not take into account traffic conditions,
Oh,
despite that
I know,
being
I know.
an available data set. So we're working on that too,
Yeah.
is to get that in there.
That would make it
That should start affecting.
Right, but with third party, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have one little tiny question about accessibility, right? And the riders, a lot of New Yorkers with disabilities use the bus. Is there an actual way to let the app users know there are 2 wheelchairs already aboard this bus? You might need to wait for the next bus. Is that possible so that, it's too much or,
That's a really interesting point.
Yeah.
We haven't actually thought about that.
So that's why you have me.
Yeah.
Or Walker as well.
And we would have to see electronic on when those on bus wheelchair locations are utilized, something would have to
But
send a signal that they're being utilized.
the operator can push something. Doesn't the operator usually push something and let you know that a wheelchair is on when they get on? Don't they push something on the fare box to let you know that a wheelchair is on?
Or maybe when the seatbelt clips in, those that it's occupied, something.
Yeah.
Be able to notify.
Electronic has to happen.
But if there's 6 strollers and 2
No.
collators, but then they don't click in
Like
and
an
you
actual
can't
That's
get
for
on
sure.
the bus.
Because there's no limit with strollers, right? Even though it probably should be, but there's a limit with wheelchair users. There's only 2 spots for designated spots for wheelchair users. We should know, before we on the waiting there for the next 3 buses to
Because
get
the
on.
walkers can go in the single seats, but if there are 3 seats already filled, the bus is really full, which is a good full.
Right.
So I think the bus occupancy is calculated by its foot trackers, right? In the door and then load weight data, the two, or is it mostly just foot trackers?
I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah.
that would be interesting to see if we could figure out how to adjust that so it also could sense, wheelchairs and other objects. Yeah.
As soon as you lift up that seat, the sensor, there could be a sensor. Once the operator lifts up both sides, either side, it could be a way to check.
Yeah.
Unless they just raise it and then they put it back down again and nobody's using it, then it would show that,
Right.
yeah, you gotta.
People tend not to do that because there's usually someone sitting in it.
Yeah, there usually is sitting.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to be able to use onboard sensors. One tricky part of this is that the onboard sort of like technology is sort of a siloed thing that we can't necessarily access immediately. So it's something that people have worked on in the past. That's a really good idea.
With new buses, maybe.
New buses, yeah, it's a thing you'd have to put in the procurement process to, to have a smart seatbelt. You'd have to build that into the new bus.
Gotcha.
Basically.
But as you know, as New Yorkers, we're already accustomed to things not being perfect. So we're adaptability is a part of our language as New Yorkers with disabilities. So we're waiting.
Thank you. We can go back to debate.
Okay, sure. Go back to that.
Yeah, we are going to talk a little bit more about it, but if we can talk about that now and then.
All right, so it's fun because I know Sunny has helped with this app from Subway Now,
Yeah.
He's amazing. He's just amazing. But something that Subway Now has that this app does not have is, and as we're hopefully moving to real-time maps in the system, which I'm told we are, so that, when you look at a daytime map, that's not what's running in the middle of the night or weekends. Every time you go to a station on the MTA app, it shows the same trains in the list of trains for that station, as opposed, like I'll use 86th Street and Central Park West, which I use. It'll show the B and the C, but on weekends, it'll still show B and C up there instead of just C. It'll show the trains that are coming as just C, but the station still shows all the trains there. And I'm sure Fulton Street will show the Z and all of that. And it would be really, because Subway Now doesn't do that. If you look at a station, it shows you what's running right then and there. Then you go into the trains, and of course, what's running is what's there. But on the heading right under the station name, it's still showing, the de facto weekday service or rush hour service.
So the IT team that we work with they've gone, and we have also with them, have gone back and forth about this idea of a dynamic map with, dynamic lists of route bullets, depending on, daytime, weekend, nighttime conditions. And the decision for the initial launch was to be extremely cautious about doing that, just in case people got confused about, subway lines going missing. And there is also a bit of a technical complexity with having not the bullets disappear, but like having a map itself sort of dynamically change.
Yeah,
I think that's something that's also top of mind for the team.
Okay, and something else is it shows direction of travel, and it always just comes on with that direction. It would be great if the user can show downtown instead of uptown every time I open the app, something like that,
Yeah.
So it goes to the machine learning piece, which you mentioned earlier, is that we're trying to make the app smarter about understanding your patterns, and that if you reverse commute, it doesn't show you Manhattan bound in the morning is what we're trying to push towards. but have the app do that for you rather than make it something you have to manually set up because what we've seen in a large app like this, that most people are just not going to do that. Power users will do that. And the app is not so geared towards power users, it's geared towards a different class of folk that, are not going to do that and might probably won't figure that out. And that goes back to also this issue about because I've been pushing for, I've been behind the maps on the screens and the weekend service map is my project. And I very much want.
And Andrew thanks you for that.
And I, very much want the lines to redraw on the weekend when I have an outage in my neighborhood. And if I see that line going through, it suggests to me there's a train there, even if there's not.
Exactly.
But they're pushing back on that. Just they want to make sure with user testing that does not confuse more people than it helps. And that's kind of for us, that's why we're going to probably.
Well, if there's a heading, weekend service, rush hour service, middle of days, just something like that, then, and
Perhaps
and store it as a favorite. And by the way, using the hourglass to find your favorites, as opposed to something that says favorites in the more or something on the bottom would probably be easier for folks to.
Marisol has a question.
Yeah.
And hasn't asked one yet. And then Stuart.
Okay,
Sure.
I'm sorry, if this is more of a bus question, you said that you're tracking foot traffic. Are you talking about foot traffic to the app or foot traffic onto the bus? Because I know we were talking about crowded buses. How do you take into account the fare evaders in your numbers?
Right. So the foot tracker sensors that are on the bus are agnostic about fare evaders. It's just understanding capacity. If you wanted to look at fare evasion, you need to look at payments and look at that against what the foot traffic says. But for us, this is about understanding how crowded the bus is and sort of how comfortable the ride will be, and not about fare evasion. It's sort of not the answer we're trying to sort of solve here with.
But I think that you're doing a disservice, because if you have fare evaders, then you're gonna have more people on the bus than you're calculating for. So when it goes back to capacity and comfort, that does have an impact.
It's irrelevant.
I don't think she's understanding. Did you say that it counts the number of people regardless to the number of people who walk through the door?
It's agnostic, yes. It's the full capacity of the bus.
Yeah, even if they walk through the back door?
Yes.
Okay. So Marisol, it doesn't matter if you pay.
Okay, all right, thank you.
It matters if you pay. It doesn't matter. You get counted regardless.
It's just the way that it doesn't matter how you step into the bus. It's still being counted. Okay, got
Whether
it.
you pay or not. Stuart had his.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank
We're
you.
back to the way now. So when we were testing this and I spoken to Andrew, so I take many trains, but I was taking the F train. And frequently F train riders have to switch at Kings Highway for a connecting train to go further down the line. So the app was only showing northbound train, uptown trains at that station. Same thing here now. So the app is recognizing where I am. It's telling me that there are RW and 1 trains. It's showing only uptown. But I wasn't able to find, and you were sort of asking this
It's
question.
got to swap direction.
Yes, right. It's not clear how you would, and I couldn't find it then and the day we tested, how to get south of Kings Highway. But
I can show you that, Stuart.
yeah, but just if you could tell us.
Yeah, so there's a swap direction button.
That's at the top, right?
Yeah, that's
So
at the
it's
top,
always-
yeah.
So it's programmed to really just show you the uptown, and if you really want to go downtown, you have to, that's the only way to do it.
That is the
Uptown
only way to do it.
is the de facto.
That's what I meant, right?
Yeah.
Uptown is the. okay.
No matter, whenever I tune in,
That's-
it's always uptown comes first and then you have to hit swap direction.
Yeah, so
I live in Brooklyn, and so for me, it's Manhattan bound. It's different. I think it depends on where you are.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Coney Island bound versus Manhattan.
something
Right.
you brought up before,
Yeah.
if you don't have this adaptable to the time of day and the day of the week, Does the Lexington Avenue and 63rd Street, now that we have the FM swap, is it going to show the F on weekends at 63rd and Lex, or is it going to continue to show the M if it's not adaptable to time of day and day of week?
So it's actually, so the real-time arrivals are based off of our GTFS RT feed.
Not the real-time arrivals, I mean.
Oh,
The labels.
Oh, the labels, sorry, okay,
Yeah.
yes.
It's going with the canonical weekday.
It's
Service.
canonical weekday service.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. To the point about, it always showing one direction. The design decision there was to make the app behave as, consistently and predictably as possible until the sort of dynamic machine learning, infused version of the app was released, so that, there wouldn't be instances where someone would look at the app and it behaves slightly differently and they get confused. We would prefer, along with the dynamic route bullets, the static route bullets, the app behave the same way almost every time that you use it.
Okay, that does mean an extra step for a lot
It
of
does.
people.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to add something on the subway end because you mentioned when you were at a station and let's say Bowling Green is an accessible station. Are you guys gonna be adding when an elevator is out to give us ahead of time?
Yeah, that's live data.
Yeah, because just to let you guys know, there was times when you give us the accessible reroute, you're giving us a station, the next station that is not accessible. That has to be adjusted.
Oh, in the trip planner?
Yes, the trip planner, or even say, if I'm here and I'm checking when the next Uptown two, whatever train's coming in, because sometimes the two could be rerouted.
Yeah.
And let's say the symbol shows the elevator, but the elevator's out. How am I supposed to know that?
Yeah, big limitations in our trip planner right now.
Yeah.
Actually, that is a good segue to
Planner.
Well, that's one, but also, say if I'm looking at the regular 4 and 5 train, and Lisa, you're correct, I just want to add, because I know he's thinking, I'm thinking.
Yep.
If I wanna, let's say if I look at the 4 and 5.
Mhm.
And I see it says elevator, let's say the street one is out.
Yep.
I'm like, instead of me going guessing right in front, why is it not on the app?
Okay, so if we could actually go to a couple slides forward, it says built for NYC in the top, and then one more. The next one, actually. So and I'll go back to the slide that I skipped over, but what we have built into this version of the app is this accessibility mode button. And what it does is it not only filters out the stations that don't have an elevator, but it also makes it much more clear whether there is an elevator outage. It's kind of small, but if you look at DeKalb Avenue, that top result, you can see the ADA logo with a little tiny caution, sort of like an exclamation point.
How do you put that on?
So what you do is, so above the swap direction button to the right, there's a wheelchair symbol, and it should be white
Oh, I see.
on them. And if when you press it, it becomes blue.
Yeah.
So
That
where
enables
is it?
accessibility.
Where is it?
It's on the screen. It's like gray. If you look at it, you have to.
I mean, I was doing my accessible routes and I never saw that.
Now it's
Using this all the time.
Yeah.
I would say make that a little, maybe outline it and say on, off.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or like a toggle,
Yeah.
a toggle maybe?
Yeah,
Gray and crossed out. It's like,
because I didn't even know that existed.
me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Accessibility mode on, yeah.
Yeah.
it's on.
Yeah.
See, that's why and with all you guys backing me up, that's what I was gonna say. It needs to be shown what it means
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you guys
that-
didn't even know that. That just proved to me that I don't even know until,
Yeah.
and I like to play with things, but
Yeah.
I just need a little more
Thanks.
info.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's great to know. Because I was doing all my routes and pushing the button again and again.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We would let him finish his presentation. We would answer his.
Yes, please.
Let's hold on.
So yeah, we can go back a little bit. I'll speed through and we can continue answering all the questions.
I know you're never gonna finish answering all the questions.
I'll wait till we finish.
It's a live voice track. There you go. So the quick update here is that we worked with our bus organization and IT organization to improve how often locations are updated for buses from 30 seconds to 5 seconds. And that was like, that was a really big deal for us because there was a lot of red tape around that and we were able to convince someone to let us do it. So that means that the experience of using the app for tracking bus, it is better on the MTA app than it is anywhere else, just because you just simply get more up-to-date locations. Next slide. This is a tab that everyone is familiar with. It is the system-wide view on the right-hand side of service status across all the subways and all the subway lines and bus routes. And you can also add favorites on your left. And we've heard that many users primarily use this as their primary view for when they use the app. They don't even look at subway and bus. They just want to know whether alerts, service disruptions, plan work is happening.
How frequently is that updated?
Constantly. Yes.
It's like my transit has that status page. I use that all the time.
Mhm.
It's updated momentarily.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. And also, I'd like to point out, Kevin mentioned this earlier, we have a chat with us button on the top right-hand side that allows for 24/7.
I used it.
And who's putting in that information?
That's the digital communications unit team.
So that it's a person, it's not AI or something.
Not AI, it's a team of people 24/7, 365. They're in the rail control center next to the communications desk. You are getting live information that goes in there right off the radio. They type it in, they send it. It's also the same team that does chat when they're not updating service statuses. So when you chat with folks here, you're not chatting with AI. When you get to a person, there's some prompts that help answer questions. But when you get to a person, you're chatting with someone that is in the rail control center in shouting distance to the cops or whatever you may need in there, right? You're speaking to an expert that literally writes the status that goes in.
So if this is, I assume, a weekday on that status bar, and you're showing, a Z train, I'll assume this is rush hour. You're not showing a Diamond F, and you're not showing a Diamond 7 or a Diamond 6.
Yeah, the behavior of when we showed those express bullets is I think we have a lot of restraint when we show them, just to reduce the amount of clutter we show to people.
That's confusion.
Yeah,
But they could be running at that time.
they could be running.
Diamond 7 is really just a misnomer at this point.
I know,
Thank you.
it's changed from what it used to be, but it still
Yeah.
skips some stops.
Yeah.
And certainly the Diamond 6 definitely skips some stops.
Definitely, yes.
And there's only like 2 Diamond Fs in each direction,
Right. Yeah,
depending on which part of the rush hour. But they're out there.
yeah,
I
definitely.
use that train, 520 at J Street every day.
Nice.
So if it's the MTA app, it has to be the most accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take it back to the team to see if we can talk about that.
I mean, if it knew exactly when you were tuning into it and it gave you real time info, like we hope the maps will start at some point to show, that would be the best of any situation.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's doable.
Okay, so we'll go to the next slide now, which is sort of our cheeky way of saying that, as Kevin alluded to, this is built by New York City residents, built for the real lived experience of people who ride transit in the city. It's not designed for car drivers in California or other transit agencies across the world. It's designed for the transit agency in New York City. And we're really proud that we were able to enable very New York City specific features. So if you can go to the next slide.
You didn't put a ferry there because actually it doesn't give you a schedule, but it can tell you if that's the best trip to take.
Yes, which does occur in the trip planning section, which I'm not covering in this presentation, but we can talk about it. But I appreciate that point. So the first thing I wanted to point out was that we have a much more nuanced model of the station than other apps might. So for instance, with Times Square image on the left-hand side, this isn't an interactive image or anything, but if you were to press on the app, the different platforms across the Times Square complex, you'll notice that the map refocuses on where the actual platform is located, which gives you a real sense of place about, how far are the BDFM, where I would need to board there from the center, and what does the overall complex sort of look like? It gives you sort of feel for complexes like this. And on the right-hand side, we've labeled whether a line is elevated or underground, which I think just adds to the idea of we understand where things are and we can help you understand where they are. Yeah.
You put an elevator there, that would be great. So you could click on it to show if there was an outage in a particular way.
Yes. Yeah.
That's very good, showing elevated versus underground.
Yeah.
So people won't be looking underground for the 7 because it's not there.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. When a station is accessible, we'll often have or you're partially accessible, we'll often have the accessibility icon not only on the top, but also associated with the routes themselves. So this is not a good example of that, but there are, we could probably look through them after. Next slide. This is the accessibility one that I mentioned. And next slide. Now we have a very extensive transfer experience that allows you to get that golden sort of like idea of what it feels like to navigate like the best subway trip. So if you want to know exactly where you need to stand on the platform and you want to know which lines you can transfer to at a given station, and you want to know when your train will stop at every successive station on your route, this view is the best place for that. And how you access this is you tap on an ETA on your home screen tab, and you can continue tapping into this until you can see all these different screens.
What's the tap on?
So if you tap on an ETA on either the subway tab or the bus tab, you'll be able to look into the upcoming stops for that specific train that's associated with that ETA. And then if you tap on an upcoming station within that view, you can then see sort of which car you should board. And then after that, if you press transfer here or live arrivals, then you get to the successive screen.
Yeah, it'll show you the possible connections at your destination stop there. Yeah, very good. I've tried that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I use it actually all the time when I want to get the timing of when I'm going to go to the station that I want to go to. Okay, so 2 more slides and then we can take more questions. This supports Spanish, this supports large text, and this also supports screen readers on both iOS and Android. And then the next slide.
Just say something about
sure.
the large text.
Yeah.
Is that it cuts off some of the numbers.
Okay. We'll fix
So like it tells me like what time-ish I can expect something.
Yeah.
Not the full time.
Okay.
So if there's a way to
make sure that it's
to make sure you either that it's all fits or that you can expand and contract it without having to go in and change the font size.
Yeah. It works for many cases, but not all cases.
Yeah. Like if I'm planning a trip and it says be there at 10 something.
Got it. So and then the last slide is sort of a preview of what's coming next. So one thing that we're doing is we're adding the ability to create a new tab for people who use paratransit.
Yeah.
There you go. So there will be a toggle in the More tab, I believe, that allows you to have that AR little tab show up, and then when you press it, it kicks out to the browser on your phone. And the reason why we designed it that specific way is to make sure that the AR website can be used. We feel the browser is the best way to access the accessibility features on your phone.
Okay.
So let me know if you have any questions about that.
Oh, we have
We have questions.
Maybe that's a different conversation.
different presentation.
Different presentation.
Yeah.
The next feature I want to talk about are widgets. I don't have concepts or mocks for these following 2, but they are very widely requested. Widgets would allow you to have on your home screen or even your lock screen on your phone, just like a specific station's arrivals, which is very helpful for people who just want it even faster.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Exactly like that.
The subway app.
Yeah. So that will roll out ideally over the next month or 2.
You have to download something separately or just be able to update.
Update the app.
Yeah. And then the third one, which we're really excited about, is the integration of Omni account management and tracking your fare cap status and other things.
That's a good.
In-
And
into
train
the-
time?
Sorry?
Train time in there somewhere too?
So train time and this app we're considering separate apps. And that's
No bridge?
there are tiny bridges that are like sort of like little Easter eggs. So if you tap, for instance, at Atlantic Avenue Barclays Center, you can press the LIRR little button in the same list that has other train route of, and then it automatically opens train time for you. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
How quickly will the Omni integration upload for you? Like say if you're tapping at, like you tap at a station or my daughter taps her card, how quickly will I be able to see that the card has been used at, Grand Army Plaza where we just got on?
Mhm.
Make sense?
It would be as fast. It'd be exactly the same as what's available on omni.info. There is a bit of processing that happens on the back end. So it might not be like literally immediately, but it should be within the day. Yeah.
But you would have to register. How would it know it's you?
So you'd have to log on to your Omni account. You have to create an Omni account and log on to it on your phone.
Yeah. But through the phone, through the app.
Through the app, right?
Yeah.
So that's, people should know that, you know what I mean?
That's a good question.
I know we're not talking about trip planner, but I'm gonna put in a plug for adding to your calendar. Like you can in Google.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at what I'm gonna do tomorrow and I need to just know my route, I don't wanna have to do it 3 times. Like, okay, tonight I'm figuring it out. Tomorrow morning, I have to look at it again. And then, oh, wait, what am I doing?
That's a good point. Yeah.
I don't have any question back with this. So let's say there are people that don't use an Omnicom per se, but through their employer have other family, could it work that way? Or it's only the Omnicard itself?
Great question. So when you create an account, you are able to, you can do this right now on the Omni website. You basically can claim any of the payment methods you use and associate them to your account. But I want to do one step better than that because folks have their transit benefits card. They may not have a virtual card. It may not even have the chip. And like, who wants to carry another card around, right? I want everything to be in my phone. So that's what I want. So what we're also working on, we're close to testing is a virtual Omni card through Apple, and then Google will follow. So that would enable a customer to then associate the virtual Omni card with whatever payment method they want. You get an American Express gift card from grandma, you can associate that if you want to. It could be anything, right? So you'd be able to connect that to your Omni virtual card and then just tap your phone.
And if it does launch, you can do that now.
Yes. Yeah, right. But you have to have the physical card. Maybe you don't want to carry that around anymore. Now,
Set it up in your wallet on your phone and
Right.
then select
Okay.
the card you want.
So that's something we should be touting for the public.
Yeah.
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 Good.
You guys should too.
I was gonna say.
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
When is this gonna start being announced as it gets closer or soon?
It'll probably go live in summer. There'll be a lot of announcement around that. About to start testing it to make sure it works.
Get it ready for the startup?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
nice. I'm glad we're also updating, because I can say this is with the Accessorite, I'm glad we're gonna put it back where it was, because the last month or two, everybody, when they saw the app open, they said, where's the Accessorite? To find it, it's like finding, you're gonna rip your head off or something, because we just needed something to get access to it, because a lot of people are getting used to tracking their vehicle or sign up for their next trip or they want to go. That's really good. With the Omni or the home screen wig, whatever you want to call it, because I hear different names of it, widget, whatever you want to call it. But I just hope that with this app, it will be a little more accessible, friendlier, and easier, because what people are seeing right now is some of them saying it looks good, some people are confused, and I just think we just need to put out saying, if you have any ideas, put in a comment in. And the reason I'm saying that because for the last couple of days, I hear people saying, I can't find the Accessorite, which I look at them like, click on more, and there it is.
Not
Even Michael
everybody's
vouch with me.
technology savvy,
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah, and that's what you have to do, because I was at the controls meeting as well as Michael Reen was there as well. And we had somebody asking me that question at yesterday's meeting, and they all went, oh. So now, at least now, this is the good news, that's coming soon.
So in the More tab, you can open up and there's a way to leave app feedback. And we really do look through all of it. This is partially how we were able to convince the team that they needed to solve this AAR problem. This is also how we got convinced the team that they needed to put widgets, because we had a whole lot of people say, where did the widgets go? Right? So we really do look through that. So if you can encourage anyone to take screenshots or whatever they need to do, that's the way to collect it. And then it gets transmitted to the team, and then we go through it together.
Can I ask a question? Son, go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's back a couple of slides. When you were talking about the positioning, when you're transferring trains, do you also have, in that portion where a wheelchair would exit?
And where the elevators are.
Elevators are, because now we have alternative accessible announcements.
Yeah.
Does that play a role in how, are you putting that in?
Yes. So if you can see on the left-hand screenshot, you can see the J Street logo has the ADA icon.
Okay.
So that is where you would access the elevator in that station. And
But that's not necessarily where you get on.
That's not where you exit on or off. Like you said, that
Boarding.
if you are, boarding, or you're getting off and on to the next train.
Yeah.
For you, you know where it tells you where to stand, but if you're a wheelchair user, does it give you the conductor station where to get off, or not? No,
so the use case is you're trying to figure out where to board on the
right?
and you want to figure out for a specific station ahead of time what the best place for if you're using wheelchair, where you would need a board.
Which car?
That'd be the last, if you're getting off at J Street, you would go to the last car is what that is indicating.
That's
right?
That's where the elevator.
That's where the elevator is, but
That's not where it's level boarding
It's
necessarily.
not where it's level.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I see. Okay, that's a really good point.
That's why you're New Yorkers and you need to do it. In New York.
Yeah.
That's what J Street.
Boarding isn't always where the elevator is.
No.
It's trying to say if I get on in the conductor's position,
Uh-huh.
elevator's in the rear.
Yeah.
How do they know where
It's not.
turn, which way to go when they get off train? To go
Right.
find the elevator.
Okay, got it. Okay.
More of like wayfindings and like signages. We've
Yeah.
and that's where the Netherlands and Combo, that's where the Netherlands tells us where to go, because he'll say the boarding is in the middle and it directs you. If something like that could be directed, it does work, because a person who could be not just a motorized or a walker, could be blind or deaf, they need to know where to go.
Yeah.
Because the R platform is a different area.
I know Kara,
Oh, yeah.
Kara also had a question. I
Yeah.
think we had a couple on.
I have one.
And then I see Jesse, and then we had a couple, Kara, couple on, and then Jesse,
Okay.
but it's your meeting.
Well, just to quickly answer that question, which I think is really relevant for the accessibility case. So one thing that is a bit of a complex project to take on, but it would actually improve a lot of this as we want to be able to map all the stations and have a clear idea, especially for people who use wheelchairs or otherwise have like mobility issues. Like what are the exact pathways that they need to take? And so we're trying to, I think that is like a very simple thing for us to, well, not simple, but like we should label that. But also in the future, can't say any deadline, dates or times or anything, but we'll want to have a much more complete view of the network in terms of like where to board, like where the elevators in the station, et cetera. And we would want to deploy that as soon as possible.
You just raised an important issue, Dylan. Sorry to jump in, but you mentioned that there will be upcoming versions. Obviously, this gets updated on, however frequent basis.
Yeah.
When a station becomes accessible, can this app do an update showing that station accessible without updating the entire version of the app? You can.
Yeah. So that's
tweak.
Yeah. So the backend systems supply the data to the app, and we're able to update the backend systems and have that show up in different ways on the app without updating the app itself.
Okay.
So yes.
While I'm having the floor, this is my last question. This is a little technical. How energy efficient is this app? If one were to leave it running for a period, would it use up your battery? Does it suck up a lot of energy, or, is it middle of the road, or how would you rate it on you,
Our team has done extensive energy use testing. I don't have an exact number myself, just because I wasn't like in the weeds on that one, but they've done as best as they can to make sure that the energy use is low.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Kara, did you have one?
Yes, very quick shuttle bus question from a slightly disgruntled G-Train rider.
Yes.
I'm
gonna go.
Understand the upgrades, never would fight that. But I've noticed that sometimes the shuttle buses are trackable in the app. The T403 new code, I think, has helped with that. Sometimes they're available on late night outages, sometimes on weekends, not always both. And then not always in other apps, non-MTA ones in trip planning.
Yeah.
Can you speak a bit about whether there are plans to make sure that that's just always trackable, not just for the G, but for every route, and integrated into trip planning so it doesn't show you to like going all the way through Manhattan or a shuttle bus?
So this is a really well-known issue, which has fallen into sort of this like process-oriented like black hole that we want to be able to fix. And so we had actually had a really great system that we need to update for this new app, and that is supplemental.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I've been pushing on that one too, as a G-Train customer.
Thank you.
Any other questions for?
So do I have to erase my old app to get this app? Or
You
is
should,
this-
you should be able to update it.
You can update it through the Google Play Store or you know the.
You can show us.
I can help you do that.
Yeah. Jesse.
Like two things.
Yeah.
Will this thing be railroad efficient, railroad efficient, like the Long Island Railroad and Dutch North? I'm just asking.
It's the same team and even the same code base.
So further advanced, when it tells you like the train number, like when it comes in, like the subways doesn't show the train number, but buses, it shows the bus number, but not when you take the subway or the railroad, it doesn't show the number of the car.
You mean bus vehicle number, right?
Yeah, but does it show for the subway and the?
No, it doesn't
railroad?
show the.
That's the difference.
Yeah. That was at the request of Department of Subways. They just didn't want us to include that, but.
Just asking.
Yeah.
Who's got a lot of chats?
Just wanted to go back to the putting AAR back on the home page. Because if you're taking the train or taking the bus, you're not always gonna open this app to see the schedule or the mapping. Someone who's an accessorized user has to open the app to book each ride. So it's a big step saver having.
Okay. Yeah. Right. After we launch that, feel free to be as noisy as you want in the app feedback so that we can see if it, if it's working for you. And you can let all your constituents know that as well.
So we do have a question in the chat about whether you'll can connect this to Nice Bus and Beeline. And if does it have the same click as if you transfer that it shows you the schedules? I know that we're not all interconnected and friendly yet, but we kind of are with more than less.
This app is just showing MTA, subway, and bus for now. We're looking at what nearby networks we might extend to. What we are going to need though from these systems is we have a high bar about the sort of quality of data we need them to provide. And a lot of these nearby networks don't provide that. For example, the air train does not publish real-time arrivals. And so that there's a big back and forth. They're like, we don't want to put something in the app that misrepresents another system that then you lose trust in the app. And so that's kind of the big question here. So we would, when we're ready to do this, we would approach these systems, basically say, we will include you, but here's what we need from you, which is, X, Y, and Z. I'm not sure they're prepared to do that for us.
Excellent. Is there a way to report subway surfing, or do you need to go to the more and a chat feature?
Chat will be the best way to do that through the app. We had those reports daily.
Wish New York City commuter card could be added as well. Andrew, I'm assuming you mean Omni?
He's left, I think. I don't see him on there.
To which?
Andrew left the meeting.
But I think, yeah,
I think that you could add a card to
to
that.
the Google Wallet or Apple Wallet, I think
Yeah,
that was
to the-
about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Mr. X, we can, you just add it at the App Store, MTA app. Right?
Yes.
Yeah,
This so the public can use this to report subway surfing.
marketing is needed. Yeah, that's.
How do you get it attached to your phone? You just go to your Play Store and download the MTA app.
Yeah, okay. Sometimes encourage people to call 911. Well, 911, it is urgent. It is 911 situation.
That also works.
Yeah. Okay.
Just,
You have a question over here.
Yeah, June.
I'm in a transit desert area.
Subway.
And basically, I have to take a bus to either another bus or a train. And I'm trying to figure out which way is better.
Hmm.
And before, on the old app, I was able to do that somewhat. How am I able to do that on the new one?
So do you take several bus routes depending on which?
For the most part, it's either bus to either the bus or the subway.
Okay.
Figure out the bus and the subway parallel. I just need to know quicker at the time, especially since it's usually 4 hours.
Yeah. So how I do that in these situations is I use that transfer feature that I mentioned earlier, and how you would use it in this situation is you would board your bus, the bus that goes to the other bus or the subway, and you would track the upcoming transfer times. Sorry, the departure times for those upcoming transfer options, and you would continually monitor which ones it best suits this case.
So it's clunky.
Yeah, and we do want to try to make sure that
Or was it? Over. It was clunky, but not that clunky in a sense of you were able to get to your, we were able to get to the stop of the intersection and everything and see, meaning 5-10 minutes before as you're getting towards it, you know, which way you want to go.
okay.
You can also do Trip Planner, and that'll tell you
Best option.
what's the fastest.
No, it's more of a live situation I'm looking at.
Or you can, it'll do it
Yeah.
live also.
I mean, you're gonna wanna know, I'm on the bus and everything, I wanna say, okay, this way is gonna be better, that way, but the bus is coming versus the buses 22 is gonna be an hour away versus 20 minutes on so.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I know the only way, which as you mentioned is clunky, is to use that transfer.
so am I correct? When I looked, the latest version is 4.6.1. That's what it showed in my phone.
And we are updating to 4.7 maybe today.
No kidding.
Yeah, but that is yeah, I think we're releasing something like every week.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Actually, it's right now saying ready for my update.
Great.
Well,
There you go.
There we go.
That's when you got one. But thank you so much for this
Thank you.
really best. We'll be giving you feedback as this app gets better and better. And
Feel free.
Just a new one.
Thank you so much.
thank you for all you're doing.
Great.
Continuing the president's report.
Cheers. So I will move on with my chair's report. There has been significant reduction in crime. Several incidents make the news, obviously, and they're horrific, but crime is down 1.3% in the past month. Many more summonses have been issued. And that's because there are 145,000 cameras in the system now, and you don't get away with anything. Your face is pictured. They have caught virtually everybody within a day. It's really fabulous. And I keep remembering 3 or 4 years ago when the Central Park rapist was doing his horrible stuff. He ran out of the park and into the 5th Avenue and 59th Street station, and the cameras caught him there, and he was captured within a day. So they're capturing people even who don't commit crimes in the subways, but commit them elsewhere and into the subways. So that's good news. Second Avenue subway, as you know, the court has, the administration didn't want to face court, and so they let the money go for phase two. And it is now expected that by, and it's not anywhere near, but by September 2032, the line will be extended as far as 125th Street between Lexington and Park Avenues, and serving, hundreds of thousands more people than it does now, which is wonderful news. So the administration has lost the Second Avenue battle, the Gateway battle, and the congestion pricing battle. So we're doing really well here in New York. And of course, Gateway is good for New Jersey and everyone in the Northeast Corridor and who rides trains in the entire Eastern US. So there is amazing access-a-ride ridership now. We were told, the numbers are nothing like they ever expected to see. And the on-time performance is relatively good. Now, whether the app is as good, we hope that will get there.
I'm gonna be quiet.
Yeah, I see that.
I plead the fifth.
I see that. I hear you screaming to say something, but
I won't.
ridership is really way up, and that's great news. Siemens and LK Comstock has been awarded the contract to provide CBTC to the Fulton and Liberty lines. This will go from J Street all the way to Lefferts Boulevard on the A, and the C to Euclid, and then the A all the way to Lefferts Boulevard. This is really going to make travel on those lines faster and more frequent. As you can see from the 7 and the L, those have gotten much more frequent. Now on the F line, the Queens Boulevard East, Queens Boulevard West, and Culver have been done, but not 6th Avenue. And that is coming later this year and will go, I'm sure, into 2027 at least, because that's quite a long stretch. But for it to be as effective as it can be on the F line, you must have the middle CBTC equipped, not just the ends. And they're going to work towards that. More G train disruptions have been, you've all seen this on the news. Yes,
I was gonna say something about the G train.
which, the G?
The G. When they announced that there's gonna be this disruption, could they please, it would make sense to me, I think, to say they are replacing a 60-year-old system with a new such and such system, so that you understand there's a reason for it. And people, you hear that.
Well, here's the problem.
It's just fetching, huh?
Last year, they did a lot of weekend GOs on the G train, and service did not run between Bedford Nostrand and Court Square. They have been doing some of that overnights and still some weekends this year. And they've predicted to do quite a few more weekends this summer. And the merchants in the Greenpoint area.
And the residents.
And the residents who need to get places, are not happy with this. And so the administrator, Jano and Demetrius, and they were saying, we will look at if more overnight possibly could be done as opposed to that. But I did speak to Demetrius, and you get a lot more done on weekends than you do on overnights. He goes, just putting the overnight into service takes time that takes away from it.
Sharon, you're talking about messaging.
I'm just
The
talking about
messaging is the
messaging,
biggest.
so that people understand that you're not just doing this arbitrarily.
People think that
They have given them the picture of how important, how much more frequent service will be, how much better it will be, how they will run longer trains.
Basically, but the news articles say the MTA messed it up, and so they have to go back and fix it.
One of the reasons for this new outage is, and they're doing this on the F as well, they are installing 5G into the CBTC system.
And then
I have seen.
And why? What does this mean to me as a
it
rider?
makes us part of the community of why it's being done.
It will be much more modern, and it will provide much faster and more reliable service. I've seen that message somewhere, but not every time I see the GO
You
notice.
just hear these guys on the television saying, oh my God, they're messing. And if they knew what they were doing.
They know exactly what they're doing. It just takes time,
Or they don't pay
unfortunately.
attention.
And they've decided to convert it to
The people who
5G.
were on TV knew what the MTA was.
Even, and then they could convey it so that you understand that we're all part of a system that's trying to improve and get better, and we're doing our part.
It's an election year.
Yeah, there's that issue too. Let me move on. So the Flatbush Avenue bus lane, which you've seen mentioned, will go from downtown Brooklyn to Grand Army Plaza. It will sort of connect Grand Army Plaza with Prospect Park. It will put buses in the middle of the avenue with their own platforms, sort of like bus rapid transit. But it is not quite bus rapid transit. It will definitely speed up the B41. I don't think there's any question about that, but this will divert some traffic, and I know the people who, for instance, who live on St. John's Place are complaining already near Grand Army Plaza. They're going to get, blasted with additional traffic. Hopefully, there will be traffic agents and signage to alleviate this issue, but it will definitely speed up the B41. I don't think there's any question about that. And it's a precursor to having this on other streets. They're talking about it on Linden Boulevard, and they're talking about elsewhere too.
Andrew, is it going all the way up Flatbush into like
To about Navy Street. It's going pretty far north, but it's,
Grand Army Plaza, like in that area?
it's going all the way down to that.
Okay, but not up to Kings Plaza.
No. And it's down to Kings Plaza, Jess.
Big South Brooklyn, yeah, down to Kings Plaza, but like
Maybe
in the future, like the rest of
That would
Flatbush
be great.
to connect it.
That would be wonderful.
But in that little question, oh.
And
That's why I was like, is that?
Ryan was at the press conference.
Oh, yeah, I went on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then on the north end, it connects to the Livingston Street bus corridor. So yeah, I think the first of many announcements.
yeah, I have a feeling it will be. I think the DOT Commissioner, Mike Flynn, is in favor of having buses faster. So the last thing I want to speak about is the one piece of not so good news. Hopefully it will not come to pass, but we're all facing a May 16th deadline for a possible Long Island Railroad strike. This took up a lot of time at yesterday's board meeting. The union was there speaking. Chair Jano Lieber was there and said, of course we want to meet, and he invited the union to a back room to start the talk, which did take some talk took place yesterday. It would happen May 16th. If it happened, they are talking bus shuttles from Hempstead Lake State Park, Hicksville and Mineola Station to Howard Beach, JFK A Station. And they're also talking possible bus shuttles from Ronkonkoma and Huntington to 179th Street F stations. This will not begin to cover what the railroad covered. And we were told that just per day, the bus shuttles will be $550,000 to provide this service. The MTA is looking to have, they agree that the union is entitled to an increase, but not as high as the union wants. They would like some givebacks, some change in some work rules. The union has so far resisted that. And to meet unions' demands and give the kind of money they're asking, fares would have to go up 8% next time. 8%, and there'd be some service cuts and work reductions in staff. So these are all not good outcomes. And so I hope they work this out to everybody's advantage. Obviously, it's important that this gets settled, and I cannot imagine the effect on the economy in Nassau, Suffolk, as well as the city of New York. And people will obviously do a lot more driving to subway stations in Queens, and whether those lines can handle the additional is anybody's guess. It's already going to be $550,000 a day for the bus shuttles, so I cannot imagine what the extra subway service that would be required would also cost. So let's hope that reasonable people can work this out, and the hundreds of thousands of people that rely on the Long Island Railroad and their employees and their workforce do not get put on strike.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
So Jerry Bringerman, has been strongly advocating for additional shuttle service, from at least
someone on the South Shore.
At least one more, at least a spot on the South Shore, possibly Babylon. The parking situation at the 5 stations that have been identified would be horrific. If people do need to drive, we would hope that there would be additional parking rides, and the people would be encouraged to carpool. back in the day, there used to be formal mechanisms for people to be able to coordinate and get in touch with each other. Now, obviously, there's a lot more Facebook groups and things of that nature for people to find each other if they need that option. But if not everybody can perform it. Speaking with somebody who is very involved in the bus, in the private bus organizations, there aren't a lot of available additional buses because that weekend and going forward, that's when schools are going on a great adventure or it's graduation season or they're doing their school trips. There's also the need to make the reservation for the buses right now. They, and the MTA needs to start paying them now, I think is what Jay was saying.
Yep.
So it can't be like, oh, I
Can't
need
get
these
the buses all of a sudden,
tomorrow.
right? You
And
gotta
if
reserve them.
And if the strike, if there is one, continues past the weekend, then you have school back in session. So you can't even use school buses. And buses need to be accessible. They need to be weather accommodating in case it's a 90-degree day. There need to be bathroom facilities, depending on how far out they're going. There will be traffic.
Yeah.
So, there are a lot of considerations. And the best alternative is that there not be a strike. It's also the beginning of weekend warrior season for summer travel. People's houses are opening, and also that's when people start going on vacation, celebrating graduation. So it would be detrimental, not just for the daily riders, the economy of Long Island.
The region.
Yeah.
The whole region. So we hope this does not happen and we will keep you up to date, as I'm sure all the news media will.
Andrew?
Yes.
I'd like to add not just the G train, but the Long Island Railroad strike. Because, and now Jano said this yesterday also about the strike, and he did mention the word accessibility.
Is that not just the G train, but the Long Island Railroad strike? Do you think the G train's going on strike?
Well, the way it's going right now, it looks like everyone's going on strike. I don't even know anymore. The way it's like, it's the way it's going, it's like people.
You just raised an important issue, which is that the Transport Workers Union's contract is also coming up, and we will be following that one as well.
But they're covered by the Taylor law.
They are indeed.
And the
which
Long Island Railroad workers are not. And I'm sorry for.
No, you're right.
But the 5 unions that are threatening, that are part of this potential job action are not the largest unions, but the largest unions who actually have a seat as non-voting members at the MTA table have said that they would not cross the picket lines to report to work, but they would probably have to report in some capacity, but they're not going to be scabs. So they'll be, they won't be able to, there will be chaos. Yeah.
That's an easy way to put it. Yeah. Go ahead.
But no, thank you, Lisa, because it is, I'm glad she mentioned it because a lot of things, people get confused with all these words and stuff. But focusing on the G train that Jano said yesterday, it's not just, we're putting the 5G inside, but also they're getting the work done, putting in more accessible stations. Not just the elevator, but updating the platform edges. There has been a lot of. And the reason I stopped because that was right into the ear. It is a frustrating. I understand with the frustration, but the one thing that summer officials always forget that when you ask the MTA or ask MTA accessibility for accessibility, how are you supposed to get the work done if we can't get the work done? Because as you look at the Capitol's videos, you see them removing platform edges to make them even better and stronger. So it's just like Kalia or Debbie can get on easily, but then you're complaining, but you're not even checking your facts.
You just reminded me of something which
Yes, sir.
I forgot. And very briefly, there was the event that we were invited to was postponed, but there was going to be a ceremony at 125th Street
Yeah.
and Broadway to commemorate the fact that Columbia University has agreed, and thanks to the, zoning for accessibility
Yes.
law that
Yeah.
the council was put in, that they will make the 125th Street number one station accessible, which is the only elevated station on that line until you get past Dykeman Street going north. So that's a very high station. That is great news. The community, that Columbia has residential buildings that they've built nearby, and it just makes perfect sense for them to help make the station accessible. So that's a real piece of good news.
And I'm glad you said it because I was supposed to attend as well. And I just think it's about time we get that station done. It just would be nice if other officials can take it seriously and move forward, not always jump to conclusions because I have not seen them listening and checking. And I understand what Sharon's saying too, because it's like listening to them, I'm like, guys, did you forget about seniors, disabled, or veterans? I feel like I'm talking to a wall. The wall can answer me better like that. It just really upsets me.
So
Thank you, sir.
This has been quite an information-full meeting thus far, and we're running a little over. Let me turn it over to Lisa and Brian. Welcome back, Lisa. We're
Thank
glad
you.
to see you walking.
Thank you. I will say that my journey has been it's been a long and winding road, full of many wheels, and I've learned a lot of firsthand lessons about accessibility and the importance of apps and elevators, which I already knew sort of, generally, but on a very personal level. Oh, yeah, I can't carry 20 pounds of equipment down a stair, and I know that not
in Washington who now know what it's like.
Right.
Not everybody has 77 minutes to get to a Mets game in the middle of the day on buses. So, nor should anybody ever spend that amount of time on the Mets ever again. So,
Exactly.
anyhow, so but I can't thank the staff and the team enough for really just being amazing and doing an incredible job of keeping the ship
Absolutely
upright, the trains on the track, the buses heading in the right direction and on time.
Including with all of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really, and, we're already one person down, and then to be two people down just makes it exponentially harder. So I just want to thank Brian and Kara and Jess and Henry and Benji and everybody for really doing things. I was not allowed to work while I was out on disability. So of course I did. Oh, but there were, I really can't thank them enough for really being incredible partners, mates. So I'm going to hand it over to my partners and teammates because they've really been doing the work. So it's good to see you all. I'm here.
You are indeed.
Yeah.
I'd say just a note on personnel, we've had the job posting for Jack's old job, what we're now calling the Policy and Public Affairs Associate, that is closed, and we're working on the interview process now. We've got some excellent candidates that I think we're excited about, and more to come as we get a little further along there, but we're excited to get back to full strength. And
You've
then
narrowed it down to.
We're not going to discuss that. Right?
Yeah, I think that's a little too much detail for this
Okay.
meeting, but we've got some great candidates so far.
Right.
I think we've touched on a lot of the things that we've been working on. Andrew mentioned bus speed and reliability and a really rejuvenated New York City Department of Transportation, which is great. But I think the big thing that's coming up very soon is our Fair Fares hearing on next Wednesday, the 6th of May. We have a joint hearing of the General Welfare and Transportation Committees just on fair fares. They've never put this much attention on the program before. Just to give a brief background, the mayor did not include any sort of expansion of the fair fares program in his budget, but the city council did. Speaker Menon General Welfare Chair Hudson and Transportation Chair, who also Majority Leader Abreu, all highlighted this in the council's version of the budget, an expansion of the program to include automatic enrollment and fully free fares for folks making 150% of the federal poverty level and below. 2 of our 5 planks of the proposal we put out beginning last year in our report. We're thrilled that that's being considered and that they're just, considering making the program more robust than it has been generally. We're still pushing on some of the other ones, especially the expansion of the program for half fares up to 300% of the federal poverty level. So we are going to be rallying at 9 a.m. On the City Hall steps before the hearing, which starts at 10 a.m. next Wednesday. Encourage everyone who is able to join us for one or both of those things to do so. Have talking points if helpful, although I, encourage you to speak from, your personal background is always most powerful. I think that's going to be a really good event. The speaker's going to join us for the rally and at least one of the chairs. And then we'll mostly head in together to sign up to testify at the hearing.
Confirmation from her.
What's that?
We got confirmation from her. That's awesome.
Yep. So we'll be doing press as well and so forth. So
Has a dollar figure been attributed to going to 300% of the federal poverty level?
yeah, we put a number in on our report. It's a little over $100 million annually. Which we think is a much more modest investment than some other proposals that have been out there.
That's for sure.
And we think would be, give kind of the most bang for the buck in terms of making the transit system more accessible for folks.
One of the arguments that we hear is that there are a lot of people who are eligible but don't enroll. And part of the issue with that argument is that if you make minimum wage, you make too much money to be eligible. So that it takes people out of the construct there. So if you're that regular commuters aren't the ones who are the ones who really should be, who are engaged. So if you automatically enroll people, that would get more people on board. People may not even know it, that they can sign up.
All right. So, and if you're interested, happy to talk to you after the meeting or have any questions. Continuing to work in Albany too on some of the bills that we have there, like One City, One Fare. Oh, nice. We could pass these around.
Yeah.
This is a little postcard we made with our legislative agenda on it, in case you're interested. The one bill that's moved furthest is the one around our Long Island Railroad Commuter Council is on the floor. It's already passed the Assembly, may pass the Senate sometime very soon. It will. But we're making some progress on some of the others and have some interest in others. I will note that we're also keeping track of bills that would create loopholes in the ACE program. Protecting our bus service by doling out tickets to folks who are blocking the bus lane. There's been a couple bills introduced this session that we've taken a position on. We're going to continue working on that as well. So we're keeping tabs on Albany, even though we're down a staff member there. Got some research projects coming up as well.
Yes, some reports in the works, being led by our 2 wonderful interns. One that you've heard a bit about is the signage and wayfinding report being led by Henry. Always open to feedback if anyone thinks of anything. Thank you to those who filled out that survey that we circulated. If you did not, we are always open to more things that come up if you're just navigating the system. That is well underway and we're excited about where that's going. Henry's doing some really great mock-ups and visuals of what the best case scenario for signage will look like. And we're excited to show you some of those in the coming weeks and months. And then Benji is working on a really great report about the Interborough Express and the many kinds of riders who will benefit from that new rail line, looking at a lot of the same ridership data, origin destination data, and where people are currently moving around the system that would have faster trips because of the IBX, and then also new riders. So a lot of interesting data there, and we're hoping to get that out in the coming weeks. Also, while I talk about that, a plug for the ongoing Interborough Express town hall meetings that are happening around the city right now, and community boards and elsewhere.
Yeah, if, I don't know if they're still taking testimony. I think there is still one.
They're going on for about another month.
Yeah, so if anybody is interested in testifying and needs some help in that, we can help provide you with some testimony. And for anybody who's not in the room but would like to see the legislative agenda that's referenced on these very, very pocket-sized and handy dandy postcards, thank you, Henry. It's available on our website. Yes. Any questions about any of that? All right.
So let's move to old business. Does anyone have any old business to bring up?
We got a commitment from the authority when they're gonna talk to us about the cleaning schedule and other questions.
I have asked. I don't have the commitment yet, but I will make every effort to continue to pester and get them here.
Gothamist actually had a, I don't know if you saw it, had the curious commuter had the question, like, when do they clean stations? How do they clean stations? There was also not a real answer in there.
And if we if we're not getting an answer and traction on that, unintended, then we should also ask about the car cleaning side, because I'm seeing slippage now, especially on the A and C lines. And the 2 and 3 lines. They used to gleam. I don't know if something.
The A and the C have some R211s. Are they filthy as well?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
there's some, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Andrew, since we're mentioning trains, we should also add the 4 train as well, because I did put it into the app a number of times, and the 4 trains look like they have complete black gunk all over it.
The 4 and the 5, or just the 4?
Just the 4. The 5 looks better, but the 4 looks like it's all black. It came out of a tunnel of black dust.
Just to remind everybody,
Yeah.
if you see this situation, you know, that you're both bringing up, get the car number. It would really help.
But I
Pictures
just,
too.
What?
Pictures are good too.
Yeah.
Pictures are good too, yeah.
I'll send it to you when
Thanks.
And I have small business.
Go ahead.
I know I've been banging everyone's head against the table at nauseum about the student.
That's what that invoice is.
Yes. Oh, we have some new info. I sent you guys an email that a student group has rose up and is ready to sue the MTA over student Omni cards, the materials. So I've been saying it for well over a year that you need to change this. Brandon's graduating, so he won't use that, but I've been saying this for well over a year. They had it in talks and then they regressed on it. And now you have a student group that has risen up and decided that they are going to sue the MTA over the student Metro cards, because not only are they ineffective, but they are what they claim is perpetuating fare evasion.
When you say ineffective, because they're not working or they're not
They're not
being used?
working. They're not working. They're stopping working
They're
in the
not what?
middle.
Oh, they're not durable, yeah.
They're not durable and they're not
They're supposed to
working.
change the material from which they made because it was ridiculous.
like these.
So they're not durable and they're often stopping mid travels, causing a lot of fare evasion among the students. Therefore, we don't have to go down a rabbit hole of what happens if you get caught fare evading. So that continues to be a real issue. Now it's lawsuit pending from students.
I will find out when the new material student omnis will be available.
They're doing
They're
one.
not planning
They're
to
not
do
planning on doing
enhanced different types of cards. What they are planning, which Kevin mentioned a little bit during his presentation, but it was brief, so if you missed it.
Yeah, you might have missed
Probably
it.
not alone.
Yep.
what they're piloting is doing a digital Omni card that will live on students' phones
Yeah.
for the fall.
Right.
They're in testing for Apple. They're working on the Google version as well. They're hoping to roll that out by the fall so that you can have the Omni card on your phone and you won't need the paper, well, the heavy paper system that they've been using. I will say we've been continuing to push on this issue. I went to a rally that was held a couple weeks ago now outside City Hall. You know, it's not just an MTA issue, it's also a New York City DOE issue. They are at the table as well on this. So, you know, the MTA would do more if DOE would give more money. Obviously, that's a two-way street, but it's a little bit more complicated. But we hope that the digital Omni cards will be ready for the fall. We've been pushing on that as.
I mean, almost everybody has a mobile phone, and I've noticed on buses, you know, at least 50, if not 60% of the people are paying by using their mobile phone. So
That's the idea. And for those that don't, they will still have the cards that they have now available. I think we could still push them to make those cards more durable. And if they're not, if most people are using the digital cards, then that's a much smaller expense.
having them cardboard, which can easily bend, is just ridiculous.
It's totally
Should at
ridiculous.
least laminate them,
Right.
Yes.
so you can wash them.
Right.
Yeah, they don't, yeah, but
So that's what's happening. It's like they're stopping working in the middle. It's not just about the durability, it's about the
They probably got bent
functionality.
somehow. in the
Yeah.
middle of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My other old business is Accessoride. You know, we keep inviting our wonderful friend Rachel here to discuss some of the trends that have been coming up. I was in a meeting on Monday and I brought it up and I said, you know, that Jano and Demetrius often talk about safety and the customer experience being a priority for transit users. Why is it not the same for paratransit users? You know, why we treat it like a subset of MTA instead of in tandem to the MTA, and especially as far as including us in the sampling of the surveys being sent out on being promoted in stations and not on dedicated blue and white vehicles. I have a problem with that. That really takes it, or putting it on social media as a QR code so that more Accessoride users, paratransit users have access to it, and we can be a real part of the sample. I don't think Accessoride agrees with me in that way, but that is the feeling that the community has, that there is not a true sample of their opinions and their voices. So I don't think Rachel may not necessarily have to be here herself, but there's other Accessoride staff that can come and address some of these issues, right, to PCF.
Yeah, we've invited Rachel several times, but while the budget talks are going on, they just didn't want to have any of those folks come here. But I'm convinced we can get somebody from either Rachel or one of her department to come and speak.
So I think Brian has been working closely with MTA leadership on a list of speaker.
The one that we put together last meeting.
Yeah, and it looks good. Any other old business before we move to new business?
I have new business
And so does Dr. Jean, who wants to be included.
Oh,
on the
okay.
new business. So I don't know if you unmute.
Is he still on or?
I think he dropped off some stuff in the chat about subway surfing, but I don't believe that he's still on.
I don't think so either. I don't see his name.
He said, I'm here. He's here
Oh,
somewhere.
right.
Okay, so he's on the phone maybe.
He said he's on the phone.
Unmute yourself and let's hear you, Jean.
Do you know how to unmute yourself, Doc? How do you do it from the phone? Kara?
*6.
*6.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh,
I heard
can you hear me now?
We
Yes.
You can all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. So I just wanted you to imagine a scenario, because this has happened to me on the subway, and I witnessed an incident or someone being harassed or something like that, and they're afraid for their life, or someone with mental health issues. I get on the app to notify MTA through WhatsApp or the MTA app. And over the past few months, whatever I have been witnessing and contacting MTA, the customer service reps will always say, call 911 or tell a train operator or the conductor. And in each of those situations, it would put me in jeopardy because if I get on the phone, then I'm the target now. I'm calling 911. Oh, there's someone harassing someone. They're going to see me calling 911. Even if I go to the customer information, the PEI, they would see me and then they want me to walk through the train to go to the conductor. And in another situation, I was in the front train, at the front of the train, and they're just saying to disturb the train operator, and they just push it off instead of addressing it when they could contact 911 and it's
You
done
can
in
also
confidence.
text 911.
That was
Text-
Scott.
Text
You can, right, you can text 911.
Correct.
Okay.
But I think-
I'm sorry, this is Marisol, but I think he's correct because in some cases they have connected you to a 911 operator if they find that it's a real emergency. So I think that's something that can be done. I've seen it in other instances.
So I know, Gina, when I've had that situation, I will give it and say, there's somebody, the police need to meet this train at the next stop immediately. There's somebody who's going to cause harm.
But I think the point that he is making, right? I think we might be missing the point that he's making. Correct me if I'm wrong, Doc, is that the feature is there for you to be able to reach someone in real time anonymously without putting yourself in harm's way. And Chris P was here and he really talked in length when he did that presentation about that feature. But what happens when you're actually on the train and you're asking for help, they're directing you, they're putting you in a position, a dangerous position. They're not actually advocating for help for you in that moment. They're telling you, you might get AI, you may not have someone actually pick up like they claim that they were supposed to. That is what happened. And I have tried it myself and I got AI.
Well, in the meanwhile, we just need to work on those issues because a lot of people don't even think of doing it. They're not educated, or times there are some people don't even pay attention or they take it seriously. If we say to them, you see something, say something.
But I think Scott's suggestion.
Even in subway surfing too, they'll just say call 911 when you're contacting them. So it's sending it around in a loop. That's a delay, and then by that time, it's delaying to address the issue.
Exactly.
There is.
And it's like, what is the point of the app if we're marketing to people to use the app, but what they're doing is just saying, call 911, just tell the conductor, tell the train operator.
So one of the things that they sometimes put up as signs is how to get in touch with somebody if there's an emergency or if there's an unsafe situation. But those signs should be up.
Yeah, it's sometimes.
I'm just looking, I don't even have that phone number saved in my phone to text. And also, there's not always service, so you can't always do that.
There are times where, as a conductor, and I could speak from experience, that you're signaling, which is like a specific train, like you use the horn to signify when you're pulling into the station, that if there's police in the station, you do like the 2 horn count. They know that you're calling for them to come upstairs. I've traveled almost the whole N line when I was a conductor, and no police came, and I had someone banging on my door threatening to kill me. Me, while I was trying to just do my job. So as a riding public, I could understand like a safety issue. There should be a way to communicate.
What did you do? Shut the doors in someone's face?
No, every time the doors opened, he kept coming to my conductor's position. And then when I would get ready to shut down, he kept back in, and then he would bang on the door on the inside. Definitely not. And it's
an issue.
But that is the point, but isn't that the point the doc is making? Why promote this way of communicating if ultimately you can't, if they pass the buck and you can't get to a conductor or a train operator? Ultimately, what is the point of putting up these signs and having this as an option if you're going to be not hurt, right?
So what Scott was advocating was use 911 through text.
Yeah.
For immediate,
Yeah.
direct intervention.
If you have
And
service.
be specific on your
If you had,
text too.
well, be the same.
And they're putting service
Train line,
on
train
many
number,
lines,
time.
between stations and everything. You will have to hear people talking and playing music, but it's a safety thing, so that's good.
Right, and his comments.
I mean, it's not
And
passing the
also
buck. The police
911
want a notification immediately from the person to avoid the proverbial telephone game. They want a
Right,
direct
yeah.
communication.
Right.
But he doesn't want to become the target. If he
Yes,
was able
but
to dial,
if you
someone
if
could
you tell
overhear the
if you tell the
conversation.
conductor,
Yeah. Or if you go up and push. the
Whether
button.
it's at the touch point or whether it's on a phone.
You can do it
So
just
you-
surreptitiously on your phone with a
So,
text.
so Scott, he may not understand what your former role was in life and the importance of that.
okay.
Option. So he's speaking from direct knowledge as a, former police officer.
Yes.
Thank you.
For your safety.
Business, because.
Yes, go ahead, Chris.
Because I know we're running late. Listen, guys, just want to let everyone know on Monday, just let everyone know, thanks to Debbie and I, we're actually there. Edith is now also not just a legend, but now the Hall of Fame legend in Washington Heights. So I did set up some pictures. And if you go up to not just her plaque at the train station or her street naming, but if you go on Broadway at 175 Street in Broadway, you'll see a screen picture of her mentioning her community. And it does mention about accessibility. So as Debbie and I were both there, the family is very pleased and they wanted to say thank you to the entire Transit Riders Council and MTA. So it is something, just want everyone to know that her family has been very honored, were honored on Monday because now they're starting a Hall of Fame. This is the first annual one.
Who was responsible for putting this up?
This is the theater's name.
Oh, was the theater that put it up?
Yeah, United
Palace
Yeah, and
Theater.
Debbie can help me say the name as well, because she was there. Also, that's why I asked her on mute, so I can say the name. But this
I don't
company,
have it in front of me, so I can't read it.
okay, but it's at a theater that's right up on,
Yeah,
not far from.
175 in Broadway.
Yeah, it is a beautiful thing. It's beautiful inside. They gave the family the coin, which I do have here on the picture. And it's the first annual. So this is gonna be, we'll see more.
First class. Called the
Thank you.
first class.
Yeah.
And they are also, you'll see pictures of Edith and other honorees on a screen outside the theater.
Can we also?
Yes,
Thank you for that.
no problem.
So just want to recognize, because we're at 2:00.
Yeah,
Want to recognize Kalia
Me?
for her recognition.
Oh.
yes, that was number two.
From My Time Inc.
Yeah.
Oh,
As we wanted to, you got a minute, Kalia, go ahead. Yeah,
Oh,
you got to shine those
Kalia.
on your own sunshine.
oh, you put me on the spot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the award
We
is
know.
for my community work. Not just as a travel trainer, but as a public speaker and an activist. And it was just a really fun and amazing moment. And as advocates, we don't always get acknowledged. So as the executive director, I often have a ceremony to recognize other advocates. And it's just one of those really cool moments that everybody gets a chance to see that recognize what I do and how I work hard for the community. So thank you.
Yeah.
I was sent
We must now,
Yeah.
may we have a vote to adjourn?
Motion
to
to
adjourn.
Second thing.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Andy, can I say one more
Thank
thing real
you.
quick to you?
No. Is that? No,
Gene.
Yeah, Jean, can you reach out to Andrew separately? We have to vacate the room.
You gotta leave the room, Gene. I'll be in touch with you.
Okay, all right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have my phone.
Next time.